Mr. Chairman, I want to thank all the witnesses for being here. This is a profoundly important issue. It may be very dry to a lot of people, except for staff who study these issues. But in an era where our working people have more and more stress and less disposable income to invest in anything, retirement or their family or healthcare, this is just really discussion. And I hope we all are mindful that we want everyone to benefit from this. Nothing wrong with private investments. We still need Social Security, of course, because more Americans depend on that than ever. But what's happened with investment is really going to be concerning just generationally. And that's why this really should be a completely nonpartisan issue about how do we manage these opportunities to help the economy, but make sure it helps for everyone. And as people prepare for retirement, and people who aren't preparing for retirement, as we all did most likely when we were in our 20s and thought we would live forever, this is a really important discussion. In 2008, the Department of Labor issued a regulatory safe harbor regarding the selection of annuity products in retirement plans. And then in 2019, Congress took bipartisan action to establish a statutory safe harbor that makes it easier for retirement plans to offer annuity products, makes it much easier. If there is a bipartisan interest in going beyond that, Congress has already done, we must proceed carefully, as I said in my first comments, as these kinds of investments can be costly, opaque, and complex. And we want to be easy for everyone to analyze their risk assessment. But I think it's important for us to take a step back as well and be mindful that we're having this discussion about lifetime income in 401k plans at a time when there are far too many workers, as I said, are struggling to earn a decent income over their lifetime. Right now, many workers across the country are struggling to pay their bills and meet basic needs, let alone save for retirement. It is incredibly hard for workers to save for retirement when, according to the Federal Reserve, such as a simple $400 unexpected expense, like a car repair, could force them into a really dire financial situation. I think the numbers from the Fed are more than 40% of Americans are $400 in an unexpected cost in going into a dire financial situation, just a cash flow problem. So it's very important with our failures so far to extend the premium tax credits under the Affordable Care Act or have a meaningful discussion about how do we address that important fixed cost in American household, health care. That's going to make it more difficult for those 20 million Americans. And in this committee, we've had extensive hearings over the last 4 years about the 120 million Americans who get their health care from employer-based. Bad for the employer, bad for the employee. The chair and I have had multiple conversations about how we could work to make sure that both for employers and employees, those health care plans are also addressed because the quality of care and the cost is going up as well. So in all of that context, average Americans trying to decide how much they can contribute to retirement given the pressures on housing cost, healthcare, transportation, education, all the other fixed costs, and the lack of discretionary income makes this a really important long-term discussion that really should be bipartisan, in my view, and has been historically in this committee. And I think the chairman and I have worked collaboratively. And I'd like to really thank Dr. Ree for being here. Go Bears, representing a district that I like to say, if you go up to the Berkeley Hills, I have the pleasure of looking down from my district at Berkeley. So thank you for being here. I have nothing but respect for the Labor Institute, which I've had a lot of interaction with over the years, and your testimony, as well as the other witnesses. So we must work to fix these inequities. I've mentioned the ranking member of the full committee, Mr. Scott, and I consistently make the case that retirement security is fundamentally aligned with workers' wages. If you don't make enough and you don't have enough discretionary income to be able to make decisions in investments for retirement, it makes it that much more difficult. The more people earn, the easier it is for them to plan and save for retirement. At a minimum, we must support policy that increase workers' wages and strengthen their ability to organize and collectively bargain. The data is clear that unionized workers have greater access to retirement plans and higher participation rates than their non-union counterparts. And the research also is clear for non-union counterparts is Their ability, the union members, to be able to negotiate a fair retirement plan helps non-union as well. But we shouldn't stop there. In 1935, President Roosevelt signed the Social Security Act into law, and when doing so, he said, quote, "Well, this will give some measure of protection to the average citizen and to his family, his and her family, against the loss of a job, against poverty-ridden old age." Remind people that before Social Security, if you were old and you were an average American, you were poor. Social Security remains one of the nation's most effective, successful, and popular programs. It currently provides lifetime income to over 67 million Americans. According to the Center for Budget and Policy Priorities, for 4 in 10 retirees, it provided at least 50% income. And for 1 in 7 retirees, it provided at least 90% of their income. There have been Republican-led attempts to privatize or destabilize Social Security in the past. But fortunately, those misguided efforts were rejected, and we must now work together to protect and strengthen Social Security for future generations, who will all be, and baby boomers, of which I am one, who will all be at least 65 by 2030 for future generations. Finally, Mr. Chairman, today's hearing is happening at a precarious time for retirement savers. Risks are increasing while core protections are being abandoned or attacked. For instance, the current administration is walking away from a sensible rule protecting workers and small businesses from harmful retirement investment advice, often related to certain annuity products, while the administration is also finalizing a regulation to make it easier for retirement plan sponsors to offer risky investments, such as crypto, in workers' 401k plans. At the same time, my colleagues across the aisle appear intent on advancing legislation, some of my colleagues, that would make it harder for retirement savers to seek justice in courts when charged with excessive fees. It seems that such legislation may be connected to today's hearings. I hope not, as Republican witness prior hearing testified that litigation and the threat of it were impacting 401 campaigns. And lastly, just a few numbers that to me are staggering that Dr. Rhee will talk about. Among near-retirement households, the share of 401k IRA assets held by the bottom 70% has substantially decreased since 2007. 7.2% to 4.9%, reflecting growing retirement inequality. This is a survey of Consumer Finances. The top 20% of households in this age group held 86% of 401k IRA assets in 2022, which is a reflection of the earlier numbers about how many Americans completely or largely rely on Social Security because they can't afford to get into 401ks. So with that as an opening statement, I hope that you take these and from a perspective of we want to work to make the system work and not have high risk or low risk, high reward for some investors and high risk, high or low return for other investors, like 80% of the American public. Mr. Chairman, I really appreciate this hearing and look forward to working with you to make sure that Americans have secure retirement for generations to come.